So, acting like an adult. Dr. Phil, in his podcast, he actually does a lot of great interviews, but he said we all have a social persona. We all have a social persona that we put on to be among other people and, to act in accordance with what the social requirements are. And, so he wasn't saying we're all a bunch of phonies, but he was saying that, we all have a social persona and you have to get around that or through that to get to the real person. And so that night, when I was alone with my dad, in the hospital, and as I say, he was um, in a deep coma. I mean, I guess he had a huge stroke, and so he was completely. I hate to use cliches or whatever, but he was completely stroked out. There was no communication. There was no garbled speaking or any kind of communication. He was gone, but he was there. And physically, heart beating and whatever. But as that breath labored on and labored on, I was, as I said, making notes of my memories and so forth. I said, what more can I do? What can I do? And, I couldn't hug him. I don't know if I held his hand or did anything. It's a very odd thing with men. I don't know what I'm saying. It's just, like we hugged. I don't want to make it sound like we weren't affectionate, but it's just different. It's weird. I don't know. You just don't communicate on the same level in that way. But anyway, what I'm getting to is I just started praying. I prayed and I said, Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. And I would always then say, we'd always say, God bless mommy, God bless daddy, and we'd do that. So that night with dad there, I did that. And that breathing stopped. That sound that we had become accustomed to, the rhythm that we had become accustomed to, suddenly just stopped. And I sat there. I guess I sat there waiting. You kind of wait for it, really start again, waiting. And then, a little time goes by and then nothing. Well, now I got to tell somebody. And so I did. I went out of the room and I walked around the halls. It was in the middle of the night. It was late. There weren't a lot of people there. I found somebody, an official of some sort. I don't know if it was an orderly or a nurse. I'm not quite sure anymore, who I first told. But I know when I told them that I made it sound kind of matter of fact, like I believe my dad has passed away. And I just didn't want to act emotional. I'm a man, I'm grown up. I'm 50 years old. So I said, my dad passed away. I'm pretty sure. I don't know. I think he stopped breathing. So we went down to the room and, they double check and they do what they do. And see, then what I do remember fairly distinctly was going down the elevator with the orderly taking my father on the stretcher and standing with him and again acting like, well, this is what we're doing. That's what we're doing. We're taking dad down, I guess, to the morgue or whatever. I guess that's what we're doing. And acting like, not super casual by any means, but still not showing much of any emotion. And so I went through whatever you do. I don't really remember any details of signing or this or that. I guess I did. But what I do remember is then I drove home. I must have called my sister and told her. But anyway, I got home and I got to our house where I grew up, mom's house now, and mom and dad and my sister were there, and mom gave me the biggest hug. Both of them just hugged me and embraced me like their long lost son. And it was, I mean, I was taken, I was moved, it was odd. I mean, I think because they were loving me, they loved me, and that made me feel vulnerable. It made me feel, I guess. I I just was, wow, this is something. And you know, so then, you kind of talk a little bit about what do you do, what are we doing, what are we going to do, and then you know, my main thing was I didn't want to come in like the out of towner know-it-all. And I've been through this twice now with mom and dad, and my sister's the one who's there. She's the one who takes care of the family. I really am the guy who left, 50 years ago now. But when I go home, I just want to blend in and be brother Peter coming home. But I don't want to come in like, yeah, man, well, I think maybe you ought to do this. So I'm careful to try to not be that way. But in this situation, um, now my dad is gone and I am the man of the house. Oh, Jesus. So, what do you do? Well, I, you know, we went through the process. We figured out what the remaining assets were, what money she had, what money he had left, and Dad was extremely frugal or practical, and spend a little, save a little, and they had put away a fair chunk of money, and nothing to be, nothing. They're not rich, but I did feel very relieved. I felt like, oh wow, she's going to be all right then, because you first, what am I? Do I have to move up here, or what are we going to do? But she was okay. And of course, my sister and brother-in-law, they're okay, they're good. So, in other words, we sorted everything out, and we got that much sort of squared away, and like things were looking like they were going to be okay. I had put mom on everything. I had been visiting every year for the last, as long as I'd been here, so I wasn't like a stranger. But so no, no, I hadn't put anything on automatic. No, that's what I started to do. Dad took care of everything. Dad resented it if I tried to do anything. I gave them a garage door opener one year as a present. I had them, I had it installed for him. He said, "What the hell is this? What's going on here? What's this stranger in my house? Putting in the." I said, "Yeah, Dad, I arranged to have the garage door installed." So, but he was a very independent man, and he did it his way, and he wanted to do it his way, and I understand that more now than ever. So anyway, we're running up to 10 minutes, but I spent the next week at home with them, planning the funeral arrangements, and dealing with those issues, getting death certificates. And you think, well, what do you need, one or two? I didn't have any idea how involved that got. You need that for almost everything, for insurance, bank accounts, everything under the sun. You need death certificates to, prove the situation. So there's a lot of stuff you have to do to tie up, to move on. But, he had saved for his family and provided for them for all these years. So when he passed, it wasn't like, now, my God, my mother's going to be destitute. It wasn't that way at all. So that made us all feel better, and that much was okay, good in those moments, let's put it that way. And Mom had always been independent. I think I'm going to go there a little bit in the next episode, because Mom had always been the traveler, the socialite. She was always the person who liked to do and go and do things. Dad was much more the homebody, stay at home, take care of business, take care of business at home. All right, I'm going to tune out again, and I'm going to give you another 10 minutes.